Welcome back to Diving into Watches, and today we're going to be doing a review on a very unique watch by a company called Unimatic. They are out of Italy. The watches are made in Italy, not a Swiss company. Unimatic has made a watch I'm going to review called the Unimatic. The watch is called the Unimatic U1PA, and it is a tribute watch built to commemorate the Italian Airborne Corps in a commemorative piece, one of 300 pieces, limited edition run. It is a uh, military watch, very sterile, um, rugged built commemorative watch. And the reason it's important, or not important, the reason I fell in love with it and liked it is I spent 21 years in the U.S. Army and Civil Affairs Airborne. Is I had the opportunity to jump with the Italian Airborne in 2011, and I'll show my uniform with the Airborne Jump Wings. So it kind of holds a special, dear, near place in my heart, being able to jump with the Italian Airborne. And when you're in the airborne units in the U.S. military and you jump with the foreign unit, if you jump with the jump master of that country, who is jump master of your plane when you're jumping, you are awarded the wings of that country when you land. There's a whole ceremony, and they pin the wings on you for that country, and then you get orders and this whatnot, and you can wear them on their U.S. military uniform on the opposite side of your U.S. Jump wings. And so for my career, I got to wear the the U.S. jump wings, but I also got to wear the Italian jump wings. So it was kind of cool. And on the watch is the Italian jump wings, which we'll cover when I go over the bench to review it. So that's why that was a really cool watch, and I really wanted to get a hold of this watch, being a limited run. And Unimatic has a unique cult following in their watches. They're not super well known, but if you're in the watch community, you've heard of Unimatic and you're aware of their watches. And either you like them or you don't, because they're very, I'm trying to think of the right word, they're a really utilitarian style watch, and we'll review that when we go over the bench. So they have a good backstory. I want to say they started in 2000 and, correct me if I'm wrong, 17 or 19. The two founders are industrial design people, and as you can see that definitely in their watch designs and the way they design their watches to be truly tool watches. And this watch would definitely be a good tool watch, definitely a good military field watch. And I will cover what I like about the watch, what I don't like about the watch. But definitely will be keeping the watch. It's a solid watch. There'll be a couple things I would change about it, and I will cover that. But I'm not talking about that. Let's go review the watch. We'll get into a little bit of the backstory of the company, why they chose the movement and whatnot, and then we'll show some photos. We'll show the loom. We'll discuss discuss the watch and whatnot. So let's get over to the bench and let's take a review at it. Okay, so here is the box that it comes in. It's a nice case. Let me lock it down. It looks like like a Pelican case or a typical gun case or any type of kind of storage case you'd want. It's got definitely a military feel to it. Pressure release valve right here. One thing I did notice when I first got it in, I got this watch from Exquisite Timepieces. I got this off the gray market. I think you still can get these from the website Unimatic, but it's all in euros. And then you have to have it shipped to you. Then it's going to sit in customs in the US, and it's going to take a while to get. So I was actually able to pick this up from Exquisite Timepieces on the gray market, used market. Got a good deal on it. I was very happy with it. It came with box papers, everything. So if you want to get a good deal on watches or a good deal on new or used watches, go check out Exquisite Timepieces. They are not a sponsor of this video. They did not give me a deal on this one. I don't have any affiliation or work with them in any way. I'm just aware of their website, and I found it through them, and it was really great dealing with them. Tyler was the guy I worked with. I think his name's Donahue. Tyler Donahue is who I worked with. So shout out to them for being very helpful. But one of the things I noticed about this is, and maybe you'll catch this, the releases are right here in the front, with the name being right here, Unimatic, faces this direction. Typically on most cases, I don't know, I have to go pull on gun cases, the name usually faces you this way. I don't know, maybe it's because when you unlatch it and you point it away from you, I guess the display name is facing towards the person. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just think I'd want that facing towards me. I don't know, just I don't know. It's just my personal preference. Comes with the international warranty card. It's got written on there in hand U1PA, piece number 230 of 300. It gives you a little warranty. And on the back it says Esercito, I can't even pronounce it, Esercito Unimatic. And it's got the name and the number, and a little higher little holograph there. And then the Unimatic is also in holograph up there. It's got a little sticker. And then, like all things now, there's no instructions. Everything is, through QR code. You can find instructions, but I mean, it's not hard to operate, especially once you know what the movement is, and I'll cover that in a minute. It does come with 2 NATO straps, a black one. I don't think that's ever been on. And then it comes with this BDU camo strap. I am not a fan of NATO straps. It was on the NATO strap when it came in. I've already worn it. I wanted to try it out, see how it felt. The NATO strap is comfortable. It's very thin. It does fit relatively thin on the wrist, but it still pushes it up. It's a relatively thick watch, and it does. And then so you got the watch on top. It still pushes it up pretty high on the wrist, which I don't like my watches sitting high up on the wrist, and it still adds a lot of extra bulk with the straps going through, and then you have to have you have the straps going through, and then you have all the extra material coming back and then going back down through. So I already took it off the NATO strap. I'll show you the strap I have it on, but it is cool. I've never seen a BDU NATO strap. So it does come with 2 straps, which is cool. I like that. Watch I have it on a M&N Airborne, French Airborne strap. I like these kind of straps. It keeps it nice and tight and firm on your wrist. It's very adjustable, not going to come loose. It's very similar to a NATO. I have it on extra thick spring bars. The spring bars that were on there weren't as thick as this. I put extra thicker string bars on there. Let me zoom in and get a little bit closer up on the watch face here. Oh, it looks like there's some smudges on it. Let me get some smudges off here. So the dial, face of the dial here, you can see you've got the Italian Airborne wings in the center, the double wings with the parachute and the star in the center. There's 5 points to the star. I can't remember what the 5 points on the star represent. They're the values of the Italian Airborne. Can't remember what exactly they represent. I'll have to look that up. And then it says made in Italy, which I think is cool. You have C3 Superluminova indices. There is no numbers. Just applied. You got the painted Superluminova indices. You've got the dagger hands, and then you've got the very thin pencil second hand going around. It is Superluminova also. The movement is a Seiko NH35 movement. Now, I know some people would be saying, oh man, why is it not a better movement? It's a Seiko movement. They don't keep the best time. Why didn't they put like an SW200 or a Solita movement, etc.? When you read the interview with the 2 founders of the company, the one founder, whose father was big into watches, gave a lot of watches to his son when he was growing up, but when the son got older and was growing and collecting watches, he said his very first watch was a Seiko SKX 007. And so he started collecting Seiko watches, and he fell in love with the Seiko movements, and he came to love the reliability, the dependability, and the durability of the Seiko movements, and that's why they put Seiko movements in their watches. Now, some may argue that they do it for the cost reasons, which obviously we all know Seiko movements are very inexpensive, but they are very reliable. They are very durable. They're not the most accurate. It's plus, I think it's like plus 15 to minus 20 to plus 40 seconds a day of accuracy. You can adjust that to get it to a certain point, but that's not a huge deal to me. One thing that they did apply here is they have a compass bezel on here. I don't know exactly the reasoning behind that. They say this is a dive watch. I would not have put a compass bezel on a dive watch, especially in the military, especially if you're going to use this as a field watch, which I would use this as a field watch. I would not be using my watch as a field, I mean, as a compass. I mean, you could, but nowadays in the modern military, you still have your old school compasses that you would carry, and you also have it in the U.S. military. You have the dagger, which is your modern electronic GPS system that you carry with you, so you would never really ever have to use this on your phone. I mean, not your phone. I'm sorry, on your watch. And then uh, in the vehicles, you have the Blue Force Tracker GPS system. So you would have to really be deep in the poo to have to fall back on your bezel here as a compass to navigate your way out of a bad situation. So I would have liked to have seen this be a timing bezel like in a rugby or dive watch. Maybe if I have the chance, I'll change it out. But then I'm changing the authenticity of the original watch. So I probably never will. But that's probably one of my biggest moans is I don't like that it has the compass bezel. It has crown guards on the side. The crown is unmarked. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't say anything Unimatic or 1P or anything like that. It has nice knurling on it. It is definitely grippable. It is a ghost date on here. So when you unscrew this and pull it out to the first position, it's for a date, but there is a no date on here. Then you go to the second position to set the date. No big deal. You just know that if you have a Seiko NH35 movement with a no date, you know you're gonna have a ghost date. It is all brushed. There is no glossiness on this, on any polish on it at all, which is nice because you don't really want a super shiny watch when you're out in the field. It does have anti-reflective coating on the underside. There is no. It's a slight dome on the sapphire crystal, but it's not super dome, so it's really good. It's not going to snag up. It's 120 click. I think you can hear that. Unidirectional bezel. Very firm. There's no wiggle on it at all. Feels very solid. Check how it lines up at the top here. Lines up perfectly. On the back side, loosen this up a little bit. It's got the Italian Airborne wings on the back with Esercito Unimatic. It's got the serial number on it. It has U1PA, and it's got your 230 of 300, and then it just goes around. It tells more about the watch. It is a screw down solid case back, obviously what you want. You don't want anything that's gonna, well, being it's a military watch, you're not going to want to have a display case back. You don't want it to get damaged or let water leak into it. It is 300 meters or 1,000 feet water resistance, so obviously it's going to be able to handle anything you're going to go into. The other thing I didn't want a NATO strap is I might change this out to a rubber strap if I decide to use this a lot in the water. I don't like cloth straps a lot when my military watches, and I will do a video on my watches I wore in the 20 years. I still have them all. None of them are on. One is on a parachute strap that I wear in garrison. The rest are on rubber straps because when you're hot and you're wet, you just don't like things wet. They tend to get gross and rotten, and it makes your skin feel icky and gross. And I just didn't like having wet stuff all the time, except when I was in the Middle East. The wet dried out pretty quickly, but when things were getting wet all the time and dried out, they tended to rot out, where the rubber worked pretty good. So that was my thing about NATO straps. But so yeah, you got good water resistance. The lugs, the dimensions, it's 40 millimeters across. Lug to lug, it is 49. It is 22 here for the lugs, and then it is on thickness, it is 12.9 millimeters. So it's not a super thick watch, but it's not thin either. That's the reason I took it off the NATOs. When you're on the NATO and you have the double material on the bottom and top, 12.9, it does stick up off the wrist pretty heavily. We'll do some. You'll see some shots where I wear it for you. But overall, there is also the Unimatic U1 etched into the top of the case there. Also, nothing on the bottom of the case there. Overall, it's a really good watch. I was very impressed with it, very happy with it. It's keeping really good time. Let me go ahead and throw it on real quick so you can see what the wrist shot looks like. There it is on the wrist. Very happy with the way it looks. It fits very snug and tight on the wrist. You can see it does sit up pretty high. If you had a NATO on there, it's going to really push it up. But very comfortable, very snug. If you're a NATO fan, you'll like the NATO straps. They're pretty decent quality. But very happy with the way it rides on the wrist. So let's go back over to the camera, back over to the table, and I'll give you my final thoughts on what I think of the Unimatic U1PA. All right, folks, there you go. That's the Unimatic U1PA tribute watch to the Italian Airborne Parachutist regiments. What do I think? I'm gonna have to give it a thumbs up. I really like it. I really enjoy the watch. I'm very happy with it. I'm okay with the Seiko movement. Some people may not be okay with the Seiko movement. They might feel that it warrants a higher movement, a better movement. If coming from a military perspective, I know in the soft world, special operations warfare world, those guys will commemorate their deployments and missions with Tudors and Rolexes, especially the SEALs teams, kind of their heritage and horology, finishing missions and certain levels of missions and stuff and certain milestones. I've seen them in Afghanistan in their mess halls, all dusty and dirty and beat up and tore up and whatnot, and then they got a Rolex on, $15,000, $20,000 Rolex on, because that's their heritage. And there's a whole backstory to that, and there's some great videos on that. But the average soldier in the civil affairs arena where I spent my career, you don't make a lot of money in the military. So from a field watch perspective, like this watch here, having a Seiko movement in it for repairing it and maintaining it makes it very, very affordable. Having a Rolex, maintaining it, and if you're a young soldier or even a senior soldier, if I was in that world, I'd have one. Yeah, I would want the heritage and everything to go with it, but there's the cost associated with maintaining it. But for the average day, the average soldier, the average person, grunt, who's going to be doing these things, the Seiko movement makes a lot of sense as far as longevity and maintenance. Because worst case is, and this movement crapped out on you, you just buy another NH35 movement, throw it in there, good to go. So I'm okay with the Seiko movement from a military standpoint or service standpoint, replaceability standpoint. So from that standpoint, I'm okay with it. Would it be cool to see a higher end movement now that I'm a civilian, for accuracy and just the, hey, it's the V8 versus the 4-cylinder? Yeah, I would. But other than that, can I really like it? Can I really knock it? No, I like the utilitarian of it. The dial's not overly complicated. It's very clean. It's very sterile. There's not a lot going on it. Nothing distract. You see the number. You see the indices. The times. You don't have all these other things going on. Nothing to distract you from what you're trying to do. You just need to know the time where it's perfect. And then you got the Italian Airborne wings, which is kind of cherry on top of it. So if you jump to the Italians, or you're into the military thing and your military heritage, and you're looking for that one kind of piece of watch that kind of just sets itself off from the others, and you can't afford those high-end Rolexes and the Tudors and stuff from the soft world, then I would say grab one of these. These are definitely worth it. Reach out to Exquisite Timepieces. I know they have them. I know you can find them in Reddit and some other worlds out there. I know they're limited pieces. I think you might still be able to go to Unimatic's website and pick one up. You're in euros, but then you got to go through customs and all that. But I would definitely give it a thumbs up, and I would definitely say yes, it's worth the buy. It's worth owning it. So please give my channel this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot. We're trying to grow this channel. Stay tuned for more reviews, more Mach and WAD builds that we're doing. If there's anything else you'd like to see us review, let us know. I will be doing a video on the watches that I wore in my entire 21-year career. Thinking about doing a video series where I interview other soldiers that I know and ask them what watches they wore during their time in the military and why they chose their watches. Let me know if you think that's a good idea, if you'd like to see those videos and me interview other soldiers from other branches, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines and Army, and what watches they wore, why they wore them, why they chose them. Not everybody wears a G-Shock. You'd be surprised what the watches you come across in the military. So let me know if you'd like to see that in the video description. I thank you for watching. Again, give me a thumbs up and a subscription, and stay tuned for the next video. Thank you for watching Diving into Watches.